Everyone, I'm Becky,
And I'm Sarah.
and we're doing Bickering Book Reviews with a lot of technical difficulties. Um,
Yeah, Zoom is evil today.
it's just
Man.
not working. Oh,
Okay.
and today we are talking about the summer of '98, which I got from NetGalley.
I got it from NetGalley. You might want to say who it's by,
I
though.
was just going to say that, yes. And it's by Tay Marley. And so this is the prequel to the QB Bad Boy and Me. And instead of being about Drayton and Dallas, it is about Drayton's parents, Ellie and Leroy, who meet at a college party at Baylor when Ellie has just graduated from high school, but she's not going to college, and Leroy is going to play at Baylor. They have like a one-night stand, but it doesn't really stick as a one-night stand, and they call each other on the phone, and they have this connection, and she goes to stay with his family over the summer for 6 months, and things happen.
Just like as you describe it, just makes it sound even more ridiculous.
So I had a hard time with this book. I had a really, 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 really
But
hard
to be
time with
fair,
it.
we had a hard time with the first book, so.
Well, okay, so I am just a little younger than the characters in this book, and I realized I looked up the author. She doesn't live in the United States. She's not from the United States. She needs to stop basing her books in the United States because it does not work. People don't
She's
talk like this.
using terms and slang that is not appropriate for 90s America.
No, I had to Google stuff. Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, I don't know what this stuff means. And I'm Googling it and they're like Australian slang, New Zealand slang, British slang. I'm like, well, that's why it just makes the book very inauthentic. Plus, like, the behavior of teens in the 90s is not this book. There's a part where the one character is covering walls with pictures of John Stamos that she's cutting out of magazines. First of all, it's 98. What magazine has that many pictures of John Stamos that she could cover whole walls? And second of all, what teen in the United States in 98 wants that many pictures of John Stamos on their walls?
I mean, to be fair, John Stamos is very attractive looking.
He's a
However,
very handsome man.
if he was in my J14 magazine when I was 12, like, I don't necessarily envision him there. Like, I envision younger actors like Joshua Jackson, who I was obsessed with, and the
Right.
Backstreet Boys, and NSYNC, and Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera, and all of that, because my walls were covered, but I was in middle school, not a senior.
Right. I was in high school. I was younger than they are. I know I had a poster of David Boreanaz over my bed because in 98 in the United States, it was all about the WB, which were things like Buffy and Dawson's Creek and Charmed, and I'll even give you Seventh Heaven. But Full House went off the air in 95. I Googled it because I was like, this is not possible. So you had that.
He wouldn't have been in any of those magazines.
No, he wouldn't have been. So I don't know. Maybe the show ran
And I
longer.
would believe more that it would be Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, or Jodie Sweetin, or Cameron.
Candace Cameron.
Candace, Candace Cameron. Like, I would have believed that more than anything.
Right. Right. And so, but the whole book was stuff like that.
See, and so, like, but like the thing is, you have more of a problem with kind of the setting and the development, like the actual world building, and it's an issue for me too. But like, my thing is, the characters and the plot was so flat that I just didn't care.
Well, yeah,
Like,
no, there's nothing at all.
and what you're describing, like, was problematic, but it wasn't even the most problematic thing for me. Like, I just finished reading Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I totally recommend. That one was like a steamy romance. This book was supposed to be a steamy romance, but like, I didn't care about the many, many romantic scenes, whereas like in Red, White, and Royal Blue, I was like, yeah! Like, these ones, I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, they're, and like you don't know anything about the characters. Like you just don't. And I have a problem with like the obsession with Baylor because they're all partying their way through Baylor, which is a conservative Baptist university. So I just, and I don't know. I don't know if like if the publisher is not intending for it to be released big in the United States because of the fact that the characters aren't very strong, because of the fact the relationship's not very strong, because it's insta love, not done particularly well, because there is no world building, because the dialogue is difficult because of the lack of actually sounding like what you're saying the characters are. Who is this book for?
This feels kind of like a trade paperback, like those like small serial paperbacks, but targeted for younger audiences.
But Harlequin books, I've read Harlequin books. They are better written than this.
That's fair. That's true. Because I like like when I just need something to like not think about, I love falling into that formula. I'm like, okay, I know what's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. I need that right now.
Right.
This didn't even follow the formula.
No. No. And there's like a part where something happens and she leaves his family's house and goes home to her mother. And basically, it's just 20 pages of her being abused that did not need to be there for Harry to then go back to him.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I don't have any positives about it.
And like because we didn't even really like, I don't want to keep going, but we didn't really even get into the brother who was just not okay, not acceptable. Like we didn't get into that. And
The
we're also
parents
not,
were totally cool about, whatever going on, party it up.
and we're not even getting into like him being rich and offering to take care of her at many points throughout the book.
Right, right. And like she had ambition but they were kind of like, she kept talking about this ambition, but it was like, it was never going to happen. Like, it was just like, eh.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and then that kind of further gets into, I really liked the idea of the fact that she wanted to develop her own skincare line and she's like learning about the chemistry of it and all of that. However, it was just never developed right. I mean, every time she talked about it, she said basically the same sentence. And it was like, this was a great idea. It just wasn't implemented right.
Yeah.
We should just stop.
Yeah, we'll rate it. So our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns, put down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
I think I'm going to do it.
I think I gave it a 2 on Goodreads, but it's a 1. It's a horse.
It's a horse.
And I don't think I would read anything else from this author because it's just frustrating. And I'm frustrated at the publisher.
Because it definitely feels like a lot of the same issues are cropping up in this book that were in place in the previous book.
Yeah. So that is where we are.
It used to be wildly popular. So who knows? I guess if you like the first one, you'll like this one.
Right. But that's the thing, like, I haven't seen a copy of the first one. I haven't seen them at the store. I haven't seen them come through the library. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not the intended audience. Maybe it's designed to be released overseas and we just happen to get it.
Yeah, because if you didn't know what you know, like about like living in America in the 90s, then maybe it wouldn't be an issue.
I don't know. Well, it would have been there would have been less issues with the book. So that is where we are on the summer of '98, and we'll see you around.
Yeah.
Bye.